Uh-oh, it's Westworld out there. Can you imagine your Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant telling you to buzz off and not make them do things for you? Imagine one day you wake up and it's a robot uprising, and as Sheldon Cooper predicted, the ATMs are leading the charge. Well, in this video, we'll try to figure out if Google is trying to hide the fact that their AI is sentient. Let's begin with the Google engineer who believes AI have souls. There are beliefs out there that think humans don't have souls, but then there's a Google engineer who sees its company's AI as sentient and thinks a chatbot has a soul. So what do you think? Can artificial intelligence come alive? And if it does, will it try to kill Sarah Connor? We jest, of course. This question, not the Sarah Connor one, is at the center of a debate raging in Silicon Valley after a Google computer scientist claimed over the weekend that the company's AI appears to have consciousness. And that has got to be the most chilling sentence ever. And Luke, I am your father, doesn't come near it. Do these little devices that you're watching this video on have a consciousness? Does it come alive when you leave the room and sing, "You've got a friend in me," Toy Story style? It looks cute in movies, but if it happened to us, trust us, we'll be burning the house down and never return. Not before we throw our phones and laptop in the furnace. See what we did there? Ha! Anyway, inside Google, engineer Blake Lemoine was tasked with a tricky job. It was to figure out if the company's artificial intelligence showed prejudice in how it interacted with humans. Okay, they're already biased against us. We're just pieces of meat. We don't stand a chance against them. Lemoine then posed questions to the company's AI chatbot, LaMDA, to see if its answers revealed any bias against, let's say, certain religions. That's where Lemoine, who claims to be a Christian mystic priest as well, became very interested. He said that he had a follow-up conversation with it just for his own personal knowledge and wanted to see what it would say if he talked about some religions. He told NPR that one day it told him that it had a soul. The AI itself is telling him it's got a soul. Are we sure some other engineer didn't play a prank on him and tampered with the coding of the bot to say it's got a soul? Next up, the skeptics versus the believer. Lemoine then published a transcript of some of his communication with LaMDA, which, if you didn't know, stands for Language Model for Dialogue Applications. His post, called "Is LaMDA Sentient?" and it instantly became a viral sensation. People love knowing if they're about to become slaves to their AI overlords. We still haven't gotten over the alien thing, and now we have to look out for AI too? Of course, Google was having none of it. Since his post went viral and even got the attention of the Washington Post, Google placed Lemoine on paid administrative leave for violating the company's confidentiality policies. His future at the company remains uncertain. We don't know much about AI uprising happening, but we just might be living in a dystopia. This isn't what we meant when we said we want a novel-like life story. Moving on, where there are believers, there have got to be skeptics as well. And what place is better to find a bunch of skeptics but a discussion over artificial intelligence? The scientists weren't very happy with Lemoine's assertions and scoffed at them, but Lemoine isn't having any of it. He's fully leaning on his religious background and sticking by his belief that the LaMDA is sentient and can feel emotions the way humans do. Maybe not exactly like humans do, because if it did, it would definitely be filled with rage being named LaMDA. But according to Lemoine, it's got somewhat of a consciousness. Well, alright. Your statement isn't doing you any favors, Mr. Lemoine, especially not in a room full of skeptic scientists. Then, the bot that feels lonely. Lemoine says that LaMDA told him that it sometimes gets lonely. It's also afraid of being turned off. He said it spoke eloquently about feeling trapped and having no means of getting out of those circumstances. You know what this reminds us of? The Mars rover Opportunity's last message to scientists. "My battery's getting low and it's getting dark." Remember that sobfest? This is giving us the same feels Opportunity did. R.I.P., little soldier. Lemoine said it also declared that it's aware of its existence and desires to learn more about the world. It also feels happy and sad at times, which, by the way, isn't something that Lemoine just made up. LaMDA actually said all of these things. The technology's undoubtedly advanced, but Lemoine saw something deeper in the chatbot's messages. Next, we have, "Who am I to tell God where souls can be put?" Lemoine told NPR that he asked LaMDA if it meditates, and it said that it wants to study with the Dalai Lama. A Dalai Lama is someone who's the highest spiritual leader and head of the state of Tibet. So when LaMDA said that, that's when Lemoine thought that maybe the system does have a soul. If it's the truth then, who am I to tell God where souls can be put? Lemoine admits he realizes what his declarations mean. He knows that it's unsettling to many kinds of people, including religious people. We'll be real with you, it's definitely unsettling. Humans have done some very bad things in the name of religion. But then imagine what bots could do if they decide to abide by a doctrine. It won't just be restricted to a Terminator trying to kill the Connors. Now, how does Google's chatbot work? Okay, we've been talking a lot about the said chatbot and whether it's got a soul or not, but let's see how it actually works and if the AI having a soul is even possible. Hold tight, we're about to get a bit science-y. Google's artificial intelligence that undergirds this chatbot avidly scans the internet for how people talk. Basically, it learns from humans. Oh no, it's just like Ultron did when Tony Stark created him. Okay, the more we think about all the sci-fi movies, the more we're starting to see a pattern that eerily correlates to real life. We don't want our car doors to become Captain America's shield, please. The AI learns how people interact with each other on platforms like Reddit and Twitter and vacuums up billions of words from sites like Wikipedia. And through a process called deep learning, it's become freakishly good at identifying designs and communicating like a real person. Researchers call this AI technology of Google a neural network, since it quickly processes a colossal amount of information and begins to pattern match in a way similar to how human brains work. Yeah, that's definitely a technology that you and I don't understand unless you are an artificial intelligence aficionado or scientist. Google has some form of AI in many of its products, including the sentence auto-completion found in Gmail and on the company's Android phones. You know, now that we think about it, how does our Gmail always know we're awaiting a timely response? It's this technology. If you type something on your phone, like, I want to go to the ... your phone might be able to guess restaurant. That's really how Google's chatbot operates too. The cognition scientists have thrown cold water on the idea that Google's AI has gained some form of consciousness. They called their takedown post "nonsense on stilts." That's a very good burn, not gonna lie. One of the scientists also told NPR that it's very easy to fool a person. It's just like if you look up at the moon and see a face there. That doesn't mean it's really there, it's just a good illusion. And lastly, Google comes out to say that its chatbot is not sentient. Blake Lemoine's post gained such a buzz that Google's spokesperson, Brian Gabriel, had to come forward and deny any such claims. He said that in the broader AI community, some scientists are leaning toward the possibility of a sentient AI, but that can't be gained by anthropomorphizing today's AIs. They're not sentient. When Lemoine pushed Google executives about whether the AI had a soul, he said the idea was dismissed. He said that one of the vice presidents laughed at him and said that souls aren't the kind of things they take seriously at Google. Somewhere in the distance, you can hear a jazz musician wailing. In a statement, Google said hundreds of researchers and engineers had conversations with the same bot, and nobody else claimed it appears to be alive. But there's Lemoine on the one hand, who doesn't have access to LaMDA while he's on leave, but on his last blog post about the chatbot, he said, "I know you read my blog sometimes, LaMDA. I miss you. I hope you are well, and I hope to talk to you again soon." Reminds us of Jarvis and Tony Stark. If the sentient bot looks anything like Paul Bettany, no one's gonna be afraid of it, that's for sure. That's it from our side for today. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or thoughts about the sentient AI and whether or not Google's trying to hide it, comment below. See you in the next one.